Hello, this is Workbench episode 15. I'm Seth Werkheiser along with Bill Meese, two people who work in music and love technology, sharing our nerdy knowledge to help make your work easier and more manageable. Hello, Bill.
Good evening.
Good evening if you're listening in the evening. Good day if it's during day time.
Yeah, good middle of the night.
Yes.
Good Sunday morning.
Time-shifted audio content that we
Right.
call a podcast.
Whenever it suits you.
Correct.
That should be the podcasting tagline. Whenever it suits you.
Whenever you get around to it.
All right. So what's up, dude? What have you been up to?
Dude, I bought a bass.
You bought a bass, like
Yeah.
the fish or the instrument?
The instrument.
I'm thinking of a bass. I'm sorry.
You are, yes.
Same spelling though.
Correct. You do remember many years ago we met while I was playing bass.
I do. You were a one-man band, and if memory serves me correctly, you still are a one-man band.
I think we go back further than that.
Oh, Pink Daffodils.
Yes.
Yeah, the female-fronted punk rock outfit from...
Sure, yes.
Was it Philly?
From Philadelphia, yeah.
Sofa Records. What up?
Yeah, we played a show out on Long Island. We're in your neck of the woods.
Hicksville.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was it Hicksville? Wow.
Or Farmingdale, or somewhere around there.
Okay, yep. So, good times. I bought a bass. Yeah.
That's cool. Are you enjoying it?
Oh, I am, yes.
Are you writing bass tunes?
I'm writing a couple bass tunes.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. It was interesting buying a bass again, going into a music store and actually purchasing something.
Did you have to be sold? Like, was there an 18-year-old dude with
the first place I went into, the first music store? I tried to go to a nice independent shop, and I told him my price range. I didn't really want to spend more than $400, and the kid, he was like 14 years old, I think. He was like, "Oh, well, there's this Fender Squier right here. It's like a $90 bass. It's like a toy."
Yeah.
It's like, no.
Well, he obviously had no idea who he was dealing with.
Well, even if someone says I have $300, $400, $500, that's what I want to spend, you don't show them the $189 Fender Squier.
No, you show them the $600 one, and hopefully
right.
you get the sell.
Right. Lost cause.
Yeah. So, important question.
Yes.
Did he have a swoopy haircut?
He did not, but he made sure to let me know that he was an engineer.
Of course.
Yeah. He's,
Like the train kind, or the... Never mind.
Yeah, I didn't get too much into it, but I didn't end up buying a bass there. I went to Guitar Center. No one helped me, which was beautiful. I think it's the beard.
I don't think they're used to helping people. I think they're just used to letting people walk in and play Stairway to Heaven and cry a tear and go home.
A couple times I've been in there, man. They're all like, "Hey, try this. Hey, did you try this? Hey, we got this new thing in." And,
well, did you pick up the Fender Stratocaster and play the "May I Help You" riff, as we've learned how to do in Wayne's World?
What's the "May I Help You" riff? I'm not familiar.
Oh, I forgot. You don't watch movies. So
correct.
For our listeners that will undoubtedly know that reference, you can send your apologies to @SethW on Twitter.
Someday I'll get around to that.
Right.
I've watched. I'm not up on my guitar riffs. Besides, I'm a bass player. No one's gonna. What's the bass player do?
They
play NIB.
Yeah, they stand over to the left and
bum 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 bum. But that's my impersonation.
That was great.
Thank you. How are you, Bill? How's your week been?
Good. I've reached black belt status. In the art of IKEA furniture assembly.
Nice.
It's amazing what IKEA will put you through to achieve such a level of goofballery.
Wow.
Because I've managed to put together 2 or 3 items in the last 2 weeks, and I can't feel about 80% of my fingers. I'm hoping that comes back soon.
Sure. You're young. You'll bounce back.
But hey, we have a brand new dresser and a big boy bed, as we've been calling it around the house.
Nice.
It's not mine. It's my son's.
Okay. Excellent.
And I need a week off from assembling IKEA furniture.
You use some of your sick time.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like coming from like a PR marketing background, I'm sitting there with 500 screws in my hand. Thinking like, man, like they totally got me. They made me pay a few $100s for a piece of furniture, and I also have to spend 5 to 8 hours on a Saturday afternoon assembling the gat dang thing.
They got you.
Yeah, they got me. So, but as I'm putting it together, I'm thinking, how much more would I have had to have paid to purchase it assembled? Yeah,
and shipped to your door,
and have someone bring it upstairs.
Right.
Like. Yeah, when I'm in the fire, as they say, on step 8 of 64, it's amazing what the figures in my mind of what I would pay.
Oh,
to have someone come in,
have
someone come in and do it for me, because, I mean, there's not enough beer and baseball on the radio that can make that process any crappier. But anyway, that was my week. Yeah, we're preparing for baby number 2, so a lot of moving around.
Yeah, fun.
A lot of spending of the money.
Well, but think of the tax implications.
That's right.
It's another write-off.
It's another write-off.
Excellent.
At the end of the day, that's all everything ever is.
That's
another
all
write-off.
It is. Yeah, that's what we do it for.
So episode 15.
Yes.
Halfway to 30.
Here we are.
So today we're talking about something today that's pretty near and dear to me, just given what I do for a living, my day job. It's how people get their news, which anyone with an iPhone will tell you that everyone gets their news very differently in 2015 than we did even 5-10 years ago, let alone when you and I were young people.
Yeah, when we were teenagers.
Right.
When we were meeting up at shows on Long Island.
Right, yeah. And we're still talking about, hey, did you read the paper? But let's start off with you, man. How do you get your news?
Mostly Twitter. And I'm not one of those that has a bunch of Twitter lists to try to keep up with different, sports or technology or anything like that. I just follow a handful of good people that I know. I'm kind of okay not being up to date on everything. And so I kind of let the people I follow it kind of curates what I learn each day. Right. If it's big enough, it'll get to me.
Yeah, and that's kind of the theme of this episode is news that's curated by the user versus by just paying for and then being delivered news that's curated by somebody else. And that's the real broad stroke.
Right. I mean, there is also, too, for one of my gigs, I use Feedly as well.
I do, too.
Which is that you turned me on to Feedly.
Right. And, for those who don't know, the Feedly is probably the best tool, in my opinion, in the wake of Google Reader going bye-bye. Mm-hmm. And for those of you that don't know that, Google Reader was an RSS reader.
Whoa, Bill, what's RSS?
What the hell is an acronym for? Real
Simple Syndication.
Thank you.
Boom.
We just crowdsourced that answer. Thank you very much.
Check the chat room. Yeah.
Real Simple Syndication is just a way for different lines of information to be plugged into different things.
Meaning you could... Oh, I'm sorry.
No, so Google Reader was just a catch-all or an aggregator, as they say, that enables you to put a whole bunch of different RSS feeds into one program that shuffles them up and curates them how you want them. So typically people have a bunch of categories within whatever RSS reader that they're using, such as news, technology, politics, sports, whatever. And that's how people, scan through their blogs every morning. I know I do.
Yep, I use Feedly primarily for metal news, and I just feed the standard cast of characters into there: Blabbermouth, Lame Goat, Metal Sucks, Loudwire, all of them. And instead of having to visit 10 different sites, 12 different sites, it's all right there in kind of a little online inbox.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been using Feedly since it came out. And honestly, a big reason why I think they're that big right now is the timing of their launch.
Yeah.
Because they launched within days of Google Reader going down. And I believe they enabled you to log in with your Google account, which isn't that hard to do now. Right. And I can't help but think that a lot of their adoption rate was due to just people, refugees from Google Reader moving. Yeah,
people that
there.
needed it. There's a lot of bloggers out there that needed their RSS feeds.
Yeah, not only bloggers, but anyone that works anything close to news or writing or editing, what have you.
Yep.
But yeah, I love it. I get my main news from let's see here: Gawker, NPR, Vice, Vox, and The Atlantic.
Okay.
And that's in my news folder in Feedly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I wanted to point out that I would say, and this is supported by a few different studies, that most people these days, probably more so in certain age demographics, get their news from Facebook. I know. Sorry, dude. I know you don't use Facebook because you're a rebel, but sad to say that's where most of the country gets their news, it seems.
I was texting a friend before I came on this episode, before we started taping, and I said what the topic of the show was, and she joked, "Well, you Facebook? You got to talk about Facebook?"
Well, you have to,
and here we are. Yeah.
Well, if we're gonna have an episode about how people get their news, then yes. I mean,
I know.
Facebook is the obvious news powerhouse.
Yeah.
Among the social media sites. I'm reading from a source here, pewresearch.org. And they say that roughly 2/3, which is 64% of U.S. adults, use Facebook, which is no shocker there. But half of those users get their news there, which is amounting for about 30% of the general population. So think about 30% of the entire user base of Facebook. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is that they're getting their news. It's essentially curated by the algorithm that is set forth by their friends.
That's the dangerous part. Yes.
Yeah. So if you have a bunch of friends that like and share and act upon weird crap, then your news feed is going to be full of weird crap.
Right.
I mean, of course, this is. I don't want to get too far into Facebook, but yeah, I'm only bringing it up here because I was kind of surprised that it was that much of a chunk of the population getting their news from Facebook. But then again, I get some of my news from Facebook.
Yeah.
For those of you that use it, you'll know there's the Facebook trending thing in the upper right-hand corner, and I'll check that every now and then simply because that's what is trending, and I think that's how I found out about the Nepal earthquake.
Really?
Over the weekend.
Wow.
So yeah, it works.
And from large breaking giant news like that to bands that are announcing tour dates, it's there on Facebook.
Yeah, and it's if it's on Facebook and you're looking at it in your profile, it's odds are it's going to be relevant to you because it's based off of your feed or your friends and your interactions with people,
right?
And whatever weird alien algorithm that they have going on there, but
that week, yeah, that determines if you see your favorite band's tour dates or not.
True.
Or the water shortage 2 towns over.
Right. So what's the answer? Follow them on Twitter too.
Yeah, there you go. Yes, varied news sources. Don't put all your news gathering into one basket. That's it.
Right, and that's kind of where this episode is going, in that it's not just the family sit down in front of the TV for the nightly news anymore, nor will it ever be.
Boy, that's
again.
Fun. Sure, a lot of us have parents out there that we sit down and watch news with.
Yeah, and I remember
during the holidays
those days.
and stuff.
But what's crazy is that I don't have the link in here, so I can't back it up. But trust me, I read it on the internet, so it must be true.
Yes.
That a lot of the tablet news reading is done by people 65 and over, which
wow.
I thought that was really interesting, because those are the exact people you'd expect to be buying a paper every day and turning on whatever talking head is the anchor this month,
right?
But no, a lot of them are actually on iPads reading very large type, I'm assuming.
Right. Wow, that's
which is pretty cool, man.
It is. Huh.
But yeah, so the point is that more news is being shared now than ever.
Oh, yeah.
Before, it was your local newspaper, your national news show, and that was it. But now there's more news. It's like drinking from a fire hose, as they say. But
absolutely.
There's more news now being shared than ever before, and less people are paying for it.
Yeah.
And we have to accept that.
Yeah, which is bonkers. I remember my senior year of high school, I thought I was going to be a rock star, but I needed a backup plan, so I was going to be a newspaper journalist. I almost went to journalism school. So I'm glad I dodged that bullet.
And you never ended up going, or what happened there?
No. Nope.
Got too involved in the bass guitar?
Dude, I was working full-time at a grocery store. I was in a rock and roll band. What do I need school for?
But I still pay for a newspaper subscription, which, usually surprises a few people. But I do. I live on Long Island, so I listen. I read Newsday.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest. I pay for it because of its digital add-ons, which I value more.
Okay.
With Newsday, if you have a subscription, you also get the digital subscription, which you can view on your iPad or your phone or your laptop, and you also get access to hotspots around Long Island.
Oh wow!
Wi-Fi hotspots, particularly at train stations, which is great for me because when I take the train into work.
Yeah.
I still think the Long Island Railroad should have Wi-Fi in the cars.
Yeah.
Given the amount of money people pay to ride that dumb thing, but what do I know?
But you can have alcohol on the train, right?
You can, which comes in handy for those late night rides home. But yeah, it's fun when you're using the Wi-Fi in the stations. When you pull into the station and people are getting on and off, you have Wi-Fi, but as soon as you pull away, gone. No more Wi-Fi.
Gotta go back to the newspaper then.
Yeah, exactly. Have you ever seen that meme? There's a meme out there. It's an old picture of people on a train reading their individual newspapers.
Yes.
And I think the caption is something like, all this social media is going to ruin our social skills or something. Right,
yeah. Everyone's isolating and just staring at their
device.
Right, and it's not a new thing.
No, and that's just more to the point that, it doesn't matter what's in our hands. We're going to stare at it.
Yeah. If we have that choice, we're going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to talk to people. Not on the train.
So there's Facebook, there's Feedly, there's which enables you to follow blogs and everything. But it's not just that. There's Twitter, which is a big one, and I like Twitter because it's been around, not the longest because Facebook's been around longer, but it's been the most constant, I think.
Been the most open, yeah.
Yeah, Facebook has evolved pretty heavily over the past 10 years, and Twitter has, but the core concept has been pretty much the same.
Yeah.
And for someone like me who follows a lot of news, who has to follow a lot of different types of news, I use Twitter lists pretty heavily. I know I've said that in previous episodes, but I use 3 separate programs to follow Twitter, which sounds nuts, but it works.
It's hardcore.
I use the actual. This is on iOS. I use Tweetbot, which is pretty awesome if you're a heavy list user.
Yep.
And it also enables you to follow multiple accounts pretty easily, and the actual Twitter app on iOS, I use that too. So I use both on my phone.
Yeah.
And then for the laptop, I use TweetDeck, which I think you turned me on to a long time ago.
Really? Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I use it mostly for scheduling, not so much consuming, but yeah, it works great. I've never had any problems with it. It's very powerful. The really neat thing in that is you could set up great keyword searches, like from different URLs, like or specific URLs, or from users. It's really cool.
Every time I send a press release, I set up a temporary search column with whatever I'm announcing or getting out there, and it enables me to track in real time as the info gets out there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
Cool.
That's TweetDeck.
Yep. Web-based Twitter.
Right.
That's much better than the web-based actual Twitter. Yeah, it's really good.
That is true, but Twitter, like the web-based Twitter, has come a long way, man.
It has. The search function is beautiful.
It used to be unusable.
Yes.
I could, like a couple of years ago, I couldn't even use it.
But now the search function on the web-based Twitter, like you could type in the username and like a phrase or something like that and find something that someone said back in like 2009. Mm-hmm. It's bonkers.
Which for you writers out there is great for research. Correct.
I've used it already for a couple tweets here and there. When I just did that today, I think, with Atreyu. They tweeted, I saw a link in in Wikipedia that said, they tweeted that I found wait, was it linked? I don't think so. Either way, yeah, you could find stuff like that. You could just, old stuff. It's really cool. Or Trent Reznor said something like that. Was it? Right. It was something like that. Type in a superstar's name, some random thing. You'll find something from 2008 that they said.
Yeah, exactly. Another one I use is just Google News. And that's probably the most powerful, I think.
Yeah.
As far as curating stories.
Yep.
If you sign in with Gmail, which is pretty easy to do, you can curate what kind of news, which outlets you want to get news from, whether you want to get more from CNN, more from Fox News, or vice versa. It gives you exactly what you want. You can also set up your own categories and topics. Like, I don't know if do you use Google News a lot?
No, nope.
Well,
I used to for sure.
I've noticed recently that they enable you to set up categories to follow like really easily.
Really?
Like I remember I was reading a Foo Fighters story.
Yeah.
And in Google News, like you can click on it and it kind of gives you a preview, and then like right at the bottom it gave you like an option saying like, do you want to get more news on Foo Fighters?
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, why not? Let's check it out. And I get like all the relevant Foo Fighter news like right in the
neat
small little box on my dashboard there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one's pretty cool. I have like
I remember. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was saying I have more general news set up in there. Like,
well, with the news thing, I find it really useful too. I used to use this back in my Buzzgrinder days. I would search for either band names or genre names, like metalcore or whatever hardcore music, and because what would happen is I would find a whole bunch of interviews that were set up like with like Midwest newspapers that weren't on anybody's radar, but through Google News you could find those. And I remember finding some stupid interview one time, like at the end of an interview, I think it was with Trivium or Dragon Force. Like at the end of the interview, it was like, sorry, I got to cut this interview short, man. I had a burrito and I had diarrhea or something. And of course, being Buzzgrinder, like we ran with that, but yeah.
That's funny.
Google News, man.
It works.
You can find good stuff on it or horrible stuff. Yeah.
And while we're talking about Google, I didn't write this one down in our notes, but Google Alerts is a big one. And Google Alerts are just, think of it as Google searches that deliver you results once a day or once a week, however you have it set up. And for publicists like me, I have dozens and dozens of Google Alerts set up this way. Anytime anything pops up on one of the artists that I work for, I find out relatively right away. It's not as real time as Twitter, but it has it does bring stuff to my attention. And if you use that, they've had some upgrades recently where they have suggested Google alerts.
Oh, wow.
Which I've never seen before, which is interesting. Like, they break it down to the categories where you can set up, sports or tech or politics automatically.
Yeah.
Which is pretty interesting. It actually reminds me a lot of Feedly, which is, not Feedly, I'm sorry, Flipboard.
Okay.
Which is another one for iPad.
Yeah.
It's on iPhone too, but it's hard to use on iPhone, honestly.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful for iPad though. It's highly visual, and it's it does exactly what it says. So Flipboard, so you flip left and right, and you can curate on that more so than I think most. Like you can set up different types of interests, certain. You can follow other curated batches of info that other users have.
Oh, wow.
So you can really poke around on there.
Cool.
So you got any more? If not, I do.
The only thing I could think of is really the Twitter local, right? Or Twitter, like, location-wise.
Mm-hmm.
I played around a little bit with that with... If This Then That we talked about a few episodes ago.
Mm-hmm.
I set up that creepy one that if there's any tweets in a certain location, and it'll email you the tweets. I set it up near my local Starbucks, and I get the most inane tweets.
Really?
Yeah,
I haven't used that. That's really weird.
It's stupid stuff, but it's interesting in that wow, these are the people that tweeted from my local Starbucks. So yeah, you could set it geographically to all sorts of different areas, like using Google Maps or whatever. Like you zoom in, so yeah, it's kind of interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that could use that to their advantage.
Yeah, small businesses could use it.
Mm-hmm.
Set it up for anybody that tweets from your block, and I can't believe I have to wait in line, or my
Can you set it up
with cold? Yeah.
Can you set it up with keyword searches too? If you're a pizza shop, can you set it up so if anyone tweets pizza, email me
within a geographical area? I don't think so with that, but you could probably do that with TweetDeck, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe not geographically though.
Yeah, I think one you can do by keyword, the other one you're talking about you could do by location. But man, if you could do that together, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it'd be kind of neat if you're a small time. There's got to be a way to do that for a keyword and geographic location. Because as a small pizza shop, you'd kill it.
Well, if anyone out there knows how to do that, let us know, because that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and we like pizza.
We do like pizza. Although your pizza out there in Stroudsburg is pretty lame.
Hey, Palumbo's Pizza is quality stuff.
Right, yeah. Pizza in New York's not so bad either.
Well, no, it's not.
There's another one I just started using, which before I even explain, I'll say it's a little annoying. But it's called Nuzzle.
Okay.
Nuzzle. And what it does, it's kind of like a daily digest that gets emailed to you.
Yeah.
But the content is drawn solely from the links that your friends share on Twitter and Facebook.
Wow.
So, if, say there's a new video or something that all of your friends, or not even your friends, but people that are on your feed really dig. Yeah. That will be like a top story.
Oh, neat.
From the day before. It's pretty cool, I guess, if you follow a lot of different people that share links. I don't, because I just explained how I get my news, and I don't get it through my main feed on Twitter that much. Right. So, I've noticed when I use it, whenever I get the Daily Digest the next day, it's like 3 or 4 links that I was well aware of the day before. Right. So, I guess for someone that just has one main feed and doesn't use a lot of lists, and gets a lot of their news from their main feed, it could be pretty cool. Yeah, especially if you work in an environment too that you can't keep up with Twitter all the time, might be handy to use something like Nuzzle. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to scroll back through 18 hours worth of tweets. Right. Ooh. There's another one called Circa, which is more of a news app. Yeah. And I took this from their website, kind of explains it. The Circa staff reduces news content to the bare minimum, regardless of the source, sending you notifications on breaking news and allowing you to follow specific stories as they develop without having to continually reread articles for the latest updates. That's pretty cool. I remember when I'm not going to try to pronounce this, but the Charlie Hebdo thing in in France.
Yeah.
I remember when that was going down. I followed that whole story through Circa, and it was pretty cool because, nowadays you'll see a blog post or a story pop up, you'll read it, and then like an hour later they'll have an update that gets tacked on to the bottom. And I would say 9 times out of 10, the people who read it originally don't ever see that update.
No, yeah.
It's not the writer's fault. It's just how people consume news. They don't continuously go back to the same link usually. But what Circa does is that it pushes the updates to your phone from stories that you have chosen to follow.
Oh, neat.
So if something's going on and you get you see it in Circa, you can follow that story, and then by following it, you're saying yes, send me updates as they come in. So if there's like a new steroid scandal in baseball,
right,
and you follow it on Circa, every time there's a somewhat meaningful update, that update will get pushed to your phone, so you don't have to go search for it.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I haven't used it that much, but I kind of want to use it more now that I've explained it again.
Yeah, I think I'm going to check that out.
Yeah, and everything that we've just talked about is going to be on Apple Watch soon. So.
Oh boy. They sold a whole bunch of those.
Yeah, I guess you didn't get one yet?
No, I don't think I need one. Of course, it'll be like the iPad, though. Like, I don't need one of those.
Maybe.
One of my friends is going to have one.
And I'll shout out to our buddy Dan Benjamin.
Yeah.
Because he put it really well today on the last episode of the Dan Benjamin Hour.
Yeah.
He said, it's kind of like a bicycle, which I know you can relate to.
Sure.
Back in the day, when I was younger and didn't drive, I used a bicycle all the time. Mm-hmm. It's how I got from here to there, and it was necessary. It was a tool that I employed to do a certain task for me, and it was one that I needed.
Yeah.
When I got older, now have a house, car, sometimes take the train. I don't really need a bike that much anymore to get from here to there. I might ride it for fun, but I don't need it. It's a tool that I don't need anymore. Doesn't mean I hate bicycles.
Right.
Doesn't mean I, chastise people who ride bicycles or enjoy bicycle riding. It's just not something I see myself needing right now.
Right.
And that's kind of how I feel about the Apple Watch.
Yeah.
It looks awesome.
Yep.
I'm sure it's going to change a lot of ways we do things, the same way that the iPhone and the iPad did.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just not something I see myself needing right now.
Right.
Don't hate people who do.
No.
If you want to buy a $500 watch.
It's got more of a shot than Google Glass, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Oof.
So, there's my opinion on Apple Watch that no one asked for. So, you're welcome.
That's okay. I think all our listeners will appreciate it. And I also want to tack on here at the end, too, in that I definitely... It wasn't until I really read the Tim Ferriss book, 4 Hour Workweek.
Great book. It's such a good book.
Oh, my goodness. That I... one of his great things in that was a media fast, a news fast. In that... don't spend all, I mean, if you're in the industry, you got to keep up with the news, but his big thing was stop trying to keep up with everything all the time. And, you don't have to read 18 different things and be abreast of everything all the time. It's okay to not know everything. And it makes for good conversations then, because when his example was, you see a server at a restaurant, you can ask them, it allows you to make conversation that way and stuff. It's kind of neat. It was a neat way of looking at it back then, and something I still think about.
Well, I back that because I back that book.
Yes.
Because it's really awesome. If you haven't read it, go check it out. We'll be sure to put it in the show notes.
Yes, and if you haven't read it, because whatever, 4 Hour Workweek, that's stupid, but just read the book. Just, don't judge a book by its cover or its title.
Yeah, read the book, then make fun of it. At least read it first.
Right, please.
But yeah, that's our show, episode 15 in the bag.
Cool.
Visit us at workbenchpodcast.com for links to everything we talked about and so much more.
And if you are subscribed via iTunes, give us a review. That'd be super duper. If you haven't subscribed on iTunes, you can do that. We have a link in our show notes where you can click and subscribe.
Yep, and for questions and comments, you can find either of us on Twitter. I'm at Bill Meese, and Seth is at Seth W. Or email us at hello@workbenchpodcast.com.
That'll do.
Hey, Seth.
Yeah.
Later, bud.